Objections and responses. We're not going to dive too deep into objections and responses here because we're going to have another course on this topic that's going to go into a lot of examples and a lot of strategies on how to go about these situations when they arise. However, I want to give you some primary strategies on how to go about the call so that when you face any type of issue for going forward, you're at least going to have a framework for responding in a way that will get you closer to those next steps. The first point that I want to raise is understanding the difference between an objection, a concern, and, well, interest, right? An objection is probably one of those issues that you're going to hear from the prospect that has to do with not wanting to learn more or not wanting to move forward with next steps. This can come in the form of, hey, we're too busy for something like this right now, or, we don't have time for this, I'm not interested. Those are pretty classic objections that you've probably heard in the past, all right? A concern is typically when the prospect has either heard about your service, investigated a service like yours before, or has used it and maybe had a bad experience, right? So if they say something like, oh man, yeah, I just had an awful experience, it didn't work the way I wanted. That's a little bit different than an objection because they aren't necessarily saying no to what you have. They're just telling you a concern that kind of leans them towards not using your product or service. This can many times present really awesome opportunities for you to respond appropriately and actually get them to that next step. Many times those are based in interest because they have used it or have wanted to use it in the past, it just didn't work. Interest. Now, this one is what you want to hear. If you hear an interest-based question, then identify it right away because this is an awesome opportunity to move the conversation forward. Sometimes questions are masked as objections or concerns, but really they just want to know more. Okay, so if they say something like, how much does this cost, right? Now, to me, that sounds like pretty obviously this person's interested, but I don't want you to get scared of these types of questions. This is typically based in interest, and responding in the right way to get them excited for the next step will many times allow this question to work in your favor. Next, empathize. Regardless of the objection, you need to learn to empathize. Now, Jeb Blunt many times talks about ledge statements as those words that you say after you hear an objection that allow you to prepare for the real response that you're going to have, right? You've heard this before. Hey, decision maker, I completely understand. Hey, decision maker, no problem. Right? It's those few microseconds that allows you to collect yourself and respond appropriately based upon what they said. That is one form of empathizing. However, at the end of the day, you really want to make sure that the prospect knows that you've heard them. Using listening noises, saying those ledge statements, or even repeating back what they said can show empathy by really letting them know that you heard them. Slowing down the buying process. The definition for that is finding a solution that slows the buying perception in the mind of the prospect to identify common ground. So many objections are based in the feeling that they're dealing with a sales call and not actually whether or not they would use your product or service. So, helping them understand that they are not under pressure, we are not going to take their money right now, right? We aren't looking for them to sign on the dotted line by the end of the call. Those types of things really help slow the buying process in their mind, right? Which allows us to speed up trust with them so that we can continue the next steps. An example for, I don't have a lot of time right now. Hey, decision maker, no problem. Really, I completely understand. While we'd love your sales partnership sometime down the line, we're not looking to have you sign anything right now. If we're able to just maybe set up some time in the next couple days or week, at least we would have an opportunity to share with you how we think this could help you and would give you some time to think about this to make the best decision for your business. right? Really slowing it down and helping them understand we're not trying to do this at the moment, Make the decision when you're ready, but the next step can really help provide you with the best information necessary. If right away they say, I'm not interested, hey, I completely understand that you haven't heard of our product or service before, but that's exactly why I'm calling. You haven't quite had the opportunity to hear that, so if you just allow us for 15 minutes, we can at least give you the chance to hear how this can benefit you like it's benefited many other companies like yours. Pace of response. So, in responding to objections, sometimes you have to speed up or slow down the pace of your response in order to match the level of intensity that the prospect is giving you at the time of the call. Now, this doesn't mean that you're snapping back at them, right? Remember, we want to be assertive, not aggressive, encouraging, not pushy. So it really is important how we respond here so they clearly hear that you're trying to work with them and help them and not try to win an argument. But the pace of response can be really important. Sometimes you just have a couple seconds or even micro moments to get through an objection, especially if they're just about to hang up on you, right? If you get to a situation where they say, I'm not interested, you might have to respond extremely quickly and say, decision maker, I haven't even had an opportunity to share with you how we can help you yet. I've been calling a lot of companies like yours, and other companies have seen the value here. Look, we're not trying to sell right now. There's no dotted line. I'm really just calling to see if maybe we could schedule 5 to 10 minutes to see if this is something that could work for you. If not now, sometime down the line, right? Like having that ready to respond quickly enables the decision maker to see that you mean business and you want to respect them. So having that response really quickly shows them that you're prepared and you can actually potentially show them value down the way. Stay tuned for more on objections and responses after this course, because there's dozens of examples that we could come up with based on not only time, money, not interested, but also some product-related examples and competitor-related examples that you're going to want to know so that you can respond with the proper pace that you need to in order to win that decision maker over to the next steps you're looking for.